takes your time, take the rush. I say, baby, I'm a thug. What's going on, guys? TGIF. I want to do roll call. Guys, I got to come up with an intro, these GMC talks. I mean, we already know TGIF, man. Glad that we made it to see another Friday. But, guys, once again, my OJ, I already ate my 2 bananas. Y'all know how I break my fast on a Friday morning. As long as I got my OJ and my 2 bananas, I can talk my stuff, you guys. But, hey, let's talk about this, guys. This episode, I got like 2 different topics I wanted to go over, but like I mentioned before, guys, every so often, I'm going to promote, like I said, physical and mental health. You know, I'm going to do periodic check-ins just to make sure, you know, if you guys are down to share or not. Like I said, I can always, you know, relate to you guys based on my progressions, you know, based on what I used to think and things I used to do. Like I said, you know, recently, like 2 or 3 years ago versus now. I mean, I feel like, you know, the work we do, once again, guys, like I said, you know, I mentioned this before in the mental health checkup, the work we do, unfortunately, guys, like I said, HVAC is not going to cover up if you got some issues going on in your head or if you got some type of physical problem. You know, the only thing HVAC is going to do, you know, if you know what you're doing, is going to get you a paycheck. But, you know, once you clock out, you're going to have to deal with those problems, guys. So, like, I'm going to start by saying, guys, like I said, you know, next week is already damn near booked up. I think next week is going to be in the 90s or if not the high 80s. But, guys, we're already starting to book AC maintenance customers. Be sure to check out, like I said, whatever I put up on for next week. But yeah, guys, like heading into AC season, I mentioned this before in regards to, I'm going to talk about the physical health first. You know, as far as with, like I said, I don't care if you guys are, you know, maintenance, service, or install. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to be in this 90-degree weather this summer. And like I said, guys, eventually you're going to realize it's not really much to it in regards to, like I said, doing your job. But, you know, you'll be foolish to just assume that, like I said, you know, your stamina is going to be the same on a 70-degree day like today versus when it gets to 100 degrees. So, like, I say that to say this. The best thing you guys can do is just plan ahead, you know, for, of course, not just the work, but plan ahead for, like, extreme cold or extreme hot weather. And I mentioned this before, guys, and I didn't mention this previously. I really only do this in the summertime, but for me, for instance, guys, like I said, I mean, I lost a bunch of weight, and, like, last year, I can tell you right now, guys, during installs, I mean, I can tell you, it is what it is, guys. Like, when I'm talking not the heat, but the humidity. Once it gets to, like, 90-plus degrees and the humidity goes up, I mean, if you're doing an install, like I said, that's almost a job in itself, just to kind of, like, work smart around the heat. But, like, I mean, last year, guys, like, you know, I switched over my electrolyte supplements. And that's another thing. You guys heard this a lot as far as with drinking Gatorades for electrolytes. You can do that. I definitely recommend you guys doing your own research for electrolytes. You know, make sure, you know, like I say, you know what you're getting into. I mean, the only issue with electrolytes is sometimes, you know, I mean, your daily sodium intake, I think it's like 2,000 grams or like 1,900 grams or milligrams of sodium per day. Make sure you don't take too much sodium. But like I said, the purpose of taking electrolytes is to stop dehydration. So, like, you're not doing this every day. You're just only doing this on days where, like, say, you're doing a strenuous job like an install, or if you got a bunch of service calls you're running in real hot and real humid weather. But, like, guys, I mentioned last year, you know, taking your electrolytes, you know, planning ahead. You're not taking electrolytes every day unless you're planning on burning like a lot of calories, or if you're, you know, working in extreme heat. But, guys, like I said, you know, water is cool, but make sure you guys are, you know, fighting dehydration. I mean, I think bananas does it as well. But, like, I mean, like I said, electrolytes in general, I don't say Gatorade. I take electrolyte packs. And like I said, guys, like, night and day difference. From 2 summers ago, you know, I was cramping up, guys. Like, and I know how my body works. You know, when I work past a certain amount of time in, like, real hot weather, like, my fingers lock up. You know, I get, you know, Charlie horse in my legs. After I took that electrolyte, guys, like, I mean, I still take breaks. I'm not working, like I said, 10 hours straight outside, you know, in hot weather. But, like, I take breaks. But, you know, as long as I take my electrolyte pack, you know, for instance, like 9 in the morning, if we get there at 7, after an hour or 2 in, just take one pack, and I take my next pack towards, like, lunchtime, like around 12 o'clock. I mean, I never had any cramps. And like I said, guys, last year it was a beauty, just with making sure, like I said, you know, it wasn't really an issue for me working in hot weather. But like I said, you know, whatever you guys do, just make sure you plan ahead. Like I said, don't be an idiot and just, you know, just assume that, like I said, your stamina and everything's going to be the same now as when it's going to get to 100 degrees, guys. Like, nah, I don't want to see, I hate seeing stories about HVAC guys dying on roofs, dying in the basement. I mean, like I said, I don't care who you work for, or like I said, you got your own shop, you should have even more common sense. Work smart and, like I said, plan. It only takes a couple minutes, before each and every day to make sure you got everything you need. Don't be an idiot. And like I said, because like I said, once you start, this shit that we do, guys, like I said, we don't really talk about it because it's part of the job. But like I said, if you do a compressor on the side of the house and it's 100 degrees and the humidity is high, if you don't bring anything to drink, or if, like I said, if you dehydrated and you don't know, and now you start hallucinating, and now you're just trying to finish out the day, guys, if something happens to you, I mean, that's your fault. Like, it's no sympathy for, like, idiots, but, I always tell my guys, like I say, your safety is your job, is your responsibility, not anyone else's. If you need time to, like I say, I don't care. I mean, me, I don't smoke, so I don't take smoke breaks on installs and nothing like that. But like, if you need to take a break for anything, like, everybody's different. None of us are robots. We can work 14 hours straight without any, without any food, without any water, without thinking about, hey, what's next? Am I doing the best course of action? Guys, like I said, take your time, and like I said, only you know what works best for you. Don't put, your life, or like I said, don't put anything in the hands of something else. Because, like, who wants to be in the hospital this summer? Not me. I ain't trying to get burnt, by no damn refrigerant. I ain't trying to do nothing stupid. Like I said, throwing out my back because, like I said, you're trying to be Superman and lift up a 5-ton, heat pump over a cliff. Like, nah, guys, like, just work smart out there, physical wise. I mentioned this before, like I said, it is possible to get in shape doing HVAC, but like I said, it has to be a priority. I don't know how your lifestyle is structured, but like, that's, back in my day, guys, like I said, before I lost, I'm almost at 100 pounds now. I'm at, like, I was 315. I weigh myself every Wednesday, but I was at 315 Wednesday. It goes, like, guys, like I said, I weigh myself once a week, and like I said, it's very consistent. So like, if I weigh myself now, I'm going to be less than 315, but my weight goes up Friday through Sunday, because like, I meal prep Monday through Thursday, but like I said, weekends, that's kind of like usually when I don't meal prep. So like, the calories do go up. It's still like between 1,700 and 2,000, but once Monday comes back around, and like I said, I get back on the cardio, I get back on the meal prep, like I said, that's usually when like it drops back down. So like, my weight never stays constant throughout the week, as it shouldn't. You burning calories and you consuming calories. So it's always going to be a delicate, balance. But for you guys to, like I said, know about that, always weigh yourself, like I said, consistently. If I weigh myself this week on a Wednesday, next week I'm not weighing myself on a Friday. For what? Like, because like I said, I know I don't do the same thing on the weekend as I do during the weekday. I don't eat the same thing. So it's like, 4 days out the week is always consistent, but the back 3 days, like for instance, today, I already know I got my 70,000 steps for the week. For you guys that don't know, 10,000 steps a day times 7, that's 70,000 steps. But I get more than 10,000 steps in a day. So like, this morning, I only needed like 4,000 steps. So like, now I know, like I said, from now till Sunday, I don't have to do any more cardio. Besides, like I said, everyday walking, like doing what I got to do. But since I'm not doing 10,000 today, if I consume calories, I know my weight is going to go up, but eventually it's going to drop back down. So like, guys, like I said, once you become intimate with weight loss and like I said, being healthy, there's a lot of things like instinctively you're going to pick up. And like, that's a bunch of things I picked up, I was there, like I said, weighing myself every day, thinking that, the weight is just going to constantly go down. Like, nah, you're going to drive yourself up a cliff weighing yourself every day. Cause like, what you're going to do, starve yourself? No, your body needs energy. You need carbs to, like I said, you need carbs, you need fat, or healthy fat for energy. But like I said, guys, like, you don't want to get, you don't want to be a health nut, and like I said, start getting too extreme with this shit. And now you're doing your body more harm than good. But let me look at the comments. Hold on, guys. Kavita, what's going on? Yep. But yeah, guys, like back to what I was saying, I don't want to lose my point here. But like, in regards to, like I said, with the physical health thing, like I said, guys, to each his own. I don't know what your health goal is. I don't know if you want to gain weight, lose weight. Like I said, most of the time, I got a feeling people want to lose weight, because like, and I'm going to get into, like I said, a topic that's tied into what I'm going over today in a second. But like, guys, like, I think, and me personally, guys, like, so I've been on both ends of the stick. I've been 400 pounds, and I'm 315 now, and like, and still dropping. So like, guys, I've been, like I said, on the wrong side of the health scale. I know what it's like not to give a fuck about going to the gym or working out, and I know where that leads to. And like I said, I know now what I'm doing now, like being conscious of what I'm eating, being conscious of, like I said, how I consume, how I spend my time. Like, gosh, I know the benefits that comes from being consistent and having some discipline and some routine in your life. Now, guys, like, besides the physical health aspect, the mental health aspect of, like, and I mentioned this a few minutes ago when I first started the live, guys, like, I'm talking, like, for you HVAC guys, I mean, for some of you guys, it's maybe your first, summer, or for you seasoned guys, it's maybe, you might, it is what it is around this time of the year. You already know what to expect. It's not really any surprises, but, like, I'm gonna bring this point home again, guys. Like I say, like, I hate seeing these videos about HVAC guys, dying from dehydration or whatever the fuck the case is. Like, I seen this story a couple of years ago. This guy, I'm talking residential, this HVAC tech, I think he was troubleshooting an air handler in the crawl space in his customer's house, and he didn't know, but the fucking air handler, whoever installed the air handler, I think one of the hot wires came loose and it touched the cabinet of the air handler. And I know the bits and pieces. I don't know the guy's experience level, or maybe, like I said, he was trying to rush. I don't know what he was there for, but he touched the cabinet of that air handler, and like I said, he got electrocuted, he died. But the customer let him in. The customer was there, but the only reason the customer knew something was wrong, he was down there for like an hour, and she was yelling out, and he didn't say nothing. And then, like, that's when, like I said, the cops got involved, and that's when, she knew that, like I said, he died down there. But, like, guys, like, I hate seeing stories like that. And like I said, guys, the shit we do is dangerous, to someone that doesn't know how things work. You could get electrocuted, you could get burnt, guys, like I said, we deal with dangerous things. Like, let's not downplay it, but, like, you always got to have, like I said, that, you always got to, like I said, have some, I'm not going to say just common sense, but, like, always think things through before you do anything. Like, and it doesn't cost you anything. It only costs you 5 seconds of your time before you hook anything up, before you open the door. Just, like I said, take a step back and like I said, look at the big picture. Don't get zoomed into, like, damn, this is just another no AC call. I already know the issues out here. Like, nah, guys, like, once you get nearsighted and, like I said, you start assuming things, that's usually when, like I said, things go wrong, and, like I said, you can probably get hurt, and, like mentally, guys, like I said, you got to be able to slow yourself down, especially during peak season. I'm saying, like, right now, what time is it? It's 11:24. Let's say if I'm on the way to a 10 to 12 right now, and like I said, another call just came in right when I got to my 10 to 12. Let's say if I'm out here for a no AC call. As soon as I get on this call, guys, I mean, of course, if I can answer the phone, unless I'm, like, in a crawl space, or if I'm in a dead service area, I'll put that next call on the schedule. But I'm not really worried about the next call. I'm worried about the job that's in front of me now. Because, like, and I seen this, I seen people, I'm talking back years ago when I was working at that maintenance company, they used to give us, like, 7 or 8 maintenances a day, and, like, half of us, like, didn't want to do maintenances because we was like, we wanted to do service calls, no heat and no AC calls. And, like, we used to breeze through all these maintenances, and, like, eventually, like I said, I seen guys, like I said, try to do these drive-by maintenances, and now they accidentally let switches out. They accidentally left their door switch magnet on. They left their jumpers on R to W. God, it was so many stupid recalls, and like I said, the manager had to call everybody in. It's like, look, I understand this. This isn't like, no, maintenances aren't as illustrious as, like, demand calls, no heat or no AC calls, but the boss man said you still got to take your time, and like I said, try to, and make sure you cover your ass. Like, make sure you know why you out there, do your job, and make sure you avoid recalls. Because, like, guys, like I said, every so often you're gonna have stupid recalls, but, like, I'm talking for you guys who got employees, but, like, if you have too many stupid recalls, like recalls where someone's leaving off a switch, or if, like, you get what I'm saying, like, things like that can be rectified. That's all due in part to probably someone just not taking their time. They're trying to get in to get out to get to the next call. Like, you get what I'm saying, guys? That mentality, like I said, if you do your job and you, like I said, you work efficient, everything's going to work itself out. You don't really have to, like, try to get to your last call before 2 o'clock. Like, that shit doesn't work. Eventually you're going to do something stupid throughout the day that you have to go back to, and now that 2 o'clock is probably going to lead to you getting home at 8 o'clock, guys. I see it. I've been through it myself. In my earlier years, like I said, guys, I made almost every damn mistake you can think of, or I've probably seen someone else do it, and I learned from it. So, like, it's not really that much to it in regards to, like I said, how to just take your time and, like, understand, and maybe your manager or your boss didn't tell you, but this is common sense. Like, this is the busy season. This is where, like I said, HVAC companies make their money. Not to say you don't make money in the winter, but, like, summertime is its own beast in its own. You get what I'm saying? Like, so you should expect to work longer hours versus in the winter. You should expect to work longer in the summer because, this is just how the beast rolls. It's either you're ready for it or you're not. And if you're not ready for it, hopefully you can turn, what you went through this year, you turn it into a lesson experience for next summer or next fall, but this shit never stops, guys. I'm telling you, it's either you're ready for it or you don't. But it definitely takes a certain mentality, like I said, to stay on the positive end, stay on the winning end. It is what it is. Like I said, I always say, I mentioned this, like I said a while ago, there's always somebody that's praying for more work, and there's always someone that's praying for the schedule to slow down. You got to respect both ends of the spectrum. Last month it wasn't really that busy, but I already knew, and spring or fall, guys, once you get into window cracking the window cracking weather, meaning 50, 55 degrees during the day and 35 degrees overnight. Yeah, some customers may run their heat at nighttime, but they don't really need the AC during the day. So technically, it's been like that for the past 2 or 3 weeks. We had I did have a no AC call last week or 2 weeks ago, but besides that, guys, I didn't really expect much out of the past couple of weeks. But like I said, guys, the weather is definitely heating up. I just want y'all to be in your right mental state of mind. But most importantly, man, make sure you take care of your body so your body can take care of you, because you're gonna need your body at multiple points this summer. I don't care if you're doing installs, you're doing service calls, maintenances, estimates for replacement, whatever the case is, guys. That's a bad feeling. You're eating like shit, and like I said, sometimes, like I said, guys, I've been in that scenario, eating fast food between calls and eating and picking up something on the way home, because you're getting home at 10 o'clock at night. Only thing you got time for is, like I said, to get some food on your stomach and go to sleep, because you got to wake back up the next morning. I've been in that scenario, guys, but somewhere down the line is, like I said, you thinking you got less time than what you really have, and everything I'm telling you is just preparation, guys. Every day it's not going to be busy as hell. I don't care what nobody say. If you're that busy, then like I said, you might be neglecting other things. You may be assuming that something is more important than what it really is. Not everything is so important in your life that you should neglect your health. I don't care what nobody say, guys, because I'm telling you, a lot of people got too much pride to admit they were stupid at some point in life, guys. And I tell you, like I said, I'm glad that, like I said, my stupidity of me not put my health first. I'm not saying be in perfect shape, but I'm saying like I said, being that big. I don't care what nobody say. There's no 400-pound service techs or 400-pound anybody that weight, guys. There's really no benefit in being grossly overweight. And like I said, this may be cliche. You guys probably heard this shit a million and one times, but like I said, guys, eventually once those hospital bills pile up, you having fun now eating bullshit, but once those hospital bills pile up, I'm telling you guys, a lot of people don't make it back. Now you stuck on diabetes, high blood pressure, stroke medication, fuck all that, guys. I'm telling you, I'm gonna drive this point home until, like I said, end of time, guys. That's not a situation you want to be in. It's never too late, like I said, to change, even if you already got medical problems from being overweight now. Like I said, make it a goal now in 6 months to do something different than what you did now. And everything starts with small steps. You gotta, it's like I said, goals are supposed to be lofty and huge, but like I said, you break shit down. Just like Kobe said, you break things down to the smallest detail. That's how you attack, and that's how you build up some consistency. But I feel like consistency only works if you got a routine, guys, and that routine is something you have to figure out for yourself. Make sure your routine is built into your goal or what you want to do. I don't care about a routine of cutting grass every day. If cutting grass every day is not really beneficial to what I'm doing, then you should kind of like I said, doing things without having some type of aim or purpose, guys, it's going to waste a bunch of your time. So all I'm saying is, like I said, know what your goal is, whether it be a weight goal, whatever the case is. Know what your goal is, and then, like I say, you work backwards and break it down into small steps. And I can guarantee, if you think like that for 6 months, you're going to be where you are. You're going to either see, like I said, a mental difference as far as how you think, or if it's a weight goal, you're going to see a physical difference. And I'm not most of the time, guys, the weight. I was telling my gym bro this shit a while back. When I started losing weight, I didn't feel any different. I didn't when I looked at myself in the mirror, even though the weight was coming down, I kind of still felt like I looked the same, but I had a lot more energy. I wasn't as sluggish. And like I said, I don't know if that's it builds up more testosterone. There's a bunch of benefits, like I said, of losing weight. But like I said, the first thing I felt before the physical change, inside the outside, I felt like the inner change as far as with energy. Now, like I said, I'm already productive, but now, I'm not that sluggish. I don't need no afternoon, I don't have to take naps. I don't have to chill. I'm pretty much good. But like I said, guys, You know, if you take care of your body will take care of you. It's not, you know, this is a two-sided equation. But if you don't take care of business up front, you know, this is all something's gonna happen. And I hope that you don't die from it. But like something's gonna happen, and it's gonna force you to remind yourself to put your health first. Otherwise, you know, it's a reason. Like I said, I'm gonna get into what I was talking about the other day. It's the reason why the obesity rate is what it is. And like, guys, like I was looking at something the other day, and I looked this up on Chat GPT, and like here, guys, and I mentioned this earlier in the video. I told you I was asking Chat GPT. I'm like, look, based on what we know, like regardless of like how the economy is, or like, you know, and how fast food is, I'm like, it's free to actually lose weight. And I'm like, thinking about like I said, how my mentor was 2 or 3 years ago till now. I'm like, it's free to lose weight. When I say it's free to lose weight, guys, like when I'm talking from a calorie expenditure point, meaning burning calories. You don't need a gym to lose weight. You need a gym to, well, you need strength training to build muscle, but you don't really need a gym to lose weight. Meaning, if you live 50 miles from your nearest gym, you can walk your ass, like you can walk like any, like guys, the only thing you need to do is like walk to burn calories. But the point is, you have to have a goal of how many steps you want to burn in order to achieve a certain goal. That's why, guys, I don't care how much money you got. I don't care, you know, if you're close to a gym. I don't care if you don't like to walk. If you don't know how many calories you're consuming and how many calories you need to burn, I don't know how that equation is going to work. And like I said, guys, I told you, I went to the gym thinking that's all I needed. I didn't care about calories. I went to the gym for like a year, almost a year, like 7 to 8 months, and I still look the same. And I'm like, yo, what the fuck? Am I doing something wrong? And like, if you look back at my heaviest list from like, 2024, 2020, like that's mainly like what I was doing. I was lifting heavy weights, but I still look the same. And I'm like, yo, like, nah, it has to be more than this shit. Like I'm getting on the scale. I'm still not registering on the scale. I'm like, I'm still 400 pounds. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what's going on? That is what triggered me to like get into counting my macros and counting stats. So like, guys, like I said, when I say losing weight is free, it doesn't take anything to walk, you know, unless you're a amputee. But like, I mean, like I said, besides, like I said, that you know, that extreme point, I want to say, guys, like I said, losing weight is like simple, but like ChatGPT, and like I said, guys, I was talking to one of my gym bros about this shit yesterday, and like ChatGPT was like, yeah, like losing weight is simple, but like, you know, ChatGPT brought up the economy. They said that, yeah, losing weight is like simple, you know, if you burn enough calories, but the issue isn't with the calorie expenditure. The issue is with the calorie intake. There was like, if you look at what's the place near the LA Fitness I go to, Crumble Cookie. One fucking cookie is like 1,000 calories, and I'm like, yo, like 1,000 calories, that's a whole meal. You get what I'm saying? And like, ChatGPT was like, yeah, a lot of people don't realize, like, since they don't count the calories, whatever you burn, if you consume more calories than what you burn, you always gonna gain weight, or you, at a minimum, you're not gonna lose any weight. And like how shit is now, like, of course, you know, taking into the fact that like healthy food, you know, I want to say the running narrative is like healthy foods aren't cheap. No, I mean, it's not supposed to be. If you look at how it is now, guys, like, it's fast food joints on every corner. And like, I mean, I'm not saying fast food is cheaper, but fast food is more convenient. And like, it's kind of like it's hot, you know, I ain't gonna say it's the government, but like, it's a finesse. Like, if they put something unhealthy in close proximity to you on those days, and I mentioned this, guys, earlier, on those days where, like, say, you already beat the hell up from work, and you're like, man, I might just get a burger and go home, guys. You don't know what that's doing to your mind. In your mind, you're going to store that feeling like, yo, like, damn, no matter what, if I work long hours, I can always go to this burger joint. And not knowing that burger, I'm talking the whole meal, plus the shake, fries, or whatever case it is, that's damn near like, you know, 2,500 to 3,000 calories. And like, that's if you're even, you know, burning calories. Like, imagine 3,000 calories. Now 3,000 could turn into 35, 4,000 because you want to add like a snack or something. Like, guys, I'm telling you, like, it's how ChatGPT put it. Like, I understand, like, you know, how they, you know, it's not necessarily more cheaper. I want to say fast food, but like, it's more convenient. But like, at the end of the day, like, it depends on your stance, guys. Like I said, once again, I'm all for like living healthy, but I've been on the other side. I can't talk like I've been healthy my whole life. Nah, guys, like, I really didn't give a shit about the gym until after I went to the ER. And like, I was telling my gym bro this shit. I'm like, yo, like, if you would have asked me about the shit that we talking about now, guys, if you would have brought this up 3 years ago when I was at my heaviest, I'd probably tell you, like, look, man, I mean, I'll think about it. You might catch me at the gym once or twice, but like, I didn't really care about like, at that point I was eating what I want. You get what I'm saying? But like, and I guys, I hate to say this, and me and my Jimbo was saying this, like, with this health shit, regardless, I know it's a high percentage of people right now in America is obese. Guys, I feel like if they lower the cost right now of every healthy food, let's say if, like I said, they incentivize farming, like let's say if like every other neighborhood was farming, guys, I think it will be the same shit, guys. Like, I think most people have it burnt in their head that they need sweets or they need like what they hooked up to. Guys, I was hooked to hot wings. That was my shit for a long time. So like, even if I went to ShopRite or Giant and I seen 30 batches of apples for 5 cents, that I'm already hooked on. I like what I like. You get what I'm saying? So like, using my mentality, I know a lot of Americans think like that. Like if you hooked on something, like that shit is almost like a drug. And I hate to say it, but food is one of the 7 deadly sins. Like gluttony, like that shit is strong, guys. And like, and some people, like I was telling you guys, if you would have had a conversation with me 3 years ago, I would have told you, you know what, I'm gonna try it. But like, gosh, eventually, what you hooked up to and what you accustomed to, that's your default setting. If you don't kind of like shift a new paradigm, if you stuck in that old way of like, damn, I know Friday through Sunday I'm gonna eat 40 wings, like, guys, like, then you can't be upset if like in a couple months or in a couple weeks, if the scale doesn't move and you still unhappy with your body, like how your body looks, then like, now you know why. If you taking accountability, a couple of times I said fuck it, man, but like the more I kept going to the gym, I'm like, man, I can't stop going to the gym because I know what happened beforehand. I had sciatic problems, like the back of my right leg was always hurting. I'm like, I know why I need to go to the gym, but like I got to get more out of this shit now. How can I take this to the next level? But like, guys, like everything I'm telling y'all comes from a negative situation. Like, and I hate to say it, but like you have to go through some adversity and some type of, negativity to reinforce changes in your life. And like health wise, I mean, everybody, like no one's healthy out here. Like I said, it's the reason why these medical companies are making billions of dollars. So like, if you look at, like I said, what the medication people are taking, it's more than enough incentive to lose weight. But like, will people lose weight, guys? I don't know. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if I never had that health scare, guys, talking personally, if I never had that health scare, I don't know, guys. I'm glad that happened, man. So that helped redirect me, man, to a more healthier life, guys. But like, I don't know why it's like that, guys. Like, I don't think the issue is money, because like I said, people spend money on what the fuck they want every day, whether that's good or bad. Money is being spent. So like, it's not about fast food being cheaper or more expensive. Like, it is what the fuck it is. Like, but I just think that, like I said, I don't know. People just got, like I said, routines and habits in their head that they can't break enough to make, eating healthy more important. Like, I'm not saying it's like, it's fancy. I think, who said this shit? What's the guy? Not Ronnie Coleman. I forgot the other guy's name. He basically said that he eats for function. He doesn't eat for taste. Like, and I mean, and I hate to say it, guys, like, and this is the dark side of, like I said, locking in. If you guys do meal preps, not every single meal is going to taste like, your favorite food. I mean, I know some of you guys got cheat days and shit like that, things like that, but like, whatever your all-time favorite food is, you can't eat, assuming, like I said, it's high in calories. Like, eventually, whatever you meal prep to, eventually, you're going to, it's not going to taste the same. It's going to be like more like a routine. It's not going to be like, your first time tasting chicken breast every single day. Like, I eat that 4 days a week. That's my meal prep. Baked chicken breast, but like after Tuesday, in a way I do get sick of it, but I know why I'm doing it. You get what I'm saying? So like, like I was telling my gym bro, like it took me a while to figure out, what I can stay consistent at. Like I tried ground turkey, I tried turkey burgers, but like turkey burgers dry up too quick. And like, I don't really eat beef like that, like I used to. Like I don't really eat burgers like that. I don't eat steaks. Like I just stay with chicken. Like, and I get, like I said, I mean, you guys know how I feel about chicken and rice. I get, that's my Friday through Sunday. I switch it up, like I said, from time to time, but like Monday through Thursday is the baked. I don't fry or grill. I do the baked chicken breast. That's Monday through Thursday, and then Friday through Sunday, that's when I switch it up. And like I said, I can either get the Caribbean jerk chicken or whatever the case is, but it's mainly chicken. It's not like a lot of beef. I don't know why it's like that, but like I said, I'm already used to eating chicken, so it's not really, it's easy for me to transition from Friday through Sunday, from Thursday to Friday, like eating the same thing. But like, I'm telling you guys, like, I mean, that discipline, like, it's all about just sticking to a routine, whether you feel like doing it or not. Like, I mean, what I just told y'all, I know it worked for me, but will it work for someone else? I don't know. I don't know their routine. I don't know. Like I said, everything could work for a couple of days, but like I said, once you know, once the sparkle goes away, and now it's time to like, yo, you got to wake up at 5 a.m. and get these 85 minutes in, and then after that, you know, you got to, you know, now's work time. You know, you got to get on your first call, and then after that, guess what? 5 o'clock. Well, you know, 3:30, 4 o'clock hits, you got to be at the gym. Like I said, guys, this is a way of life. I don't know. Like everybody's discipline is different, but like I said, it depends on what you want. You know, if what you want, like I said, requires a difference out of you, you either got to make it happen or like you don't. But like I already made enough excuses in the past at that time. You know, like I said, you know what, I'm gonna try it tomorrow. You know what, this is too much. It got to a point, guys. Like I said, I was already at my wit's end. I was at that fork in the road. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it, man. Like, you know, what's my worst case scenario? What I'm doing right now, I'm like, I can always go back to what I'm doing now, not doing anything. I'm also give it a shot. And the more I kept trying it, like I said, you know, I was like, you know what? Damn, now I know what consistency is. Let me times this by a couple months, you know, times this by until whenever I get it done. And like I said, guys, like, this shit doesn't really end. It just transfers from like one part of your life to another. It doesn't really change, you know. But like I said, guys, I just wanted to get on here and talk with y'all. I got to get to the supply house, but I just want to get on here and talk with y'all, man, just about the whole weight loss thing. I mean, it's not really a science to this shit. Like I said, we're not taking any medication. We're not only like we're not on any extreme anything, guys. We're just taking this the old-fashioned way. I want to say like this: the only thing you guys should take from it, well, the most important thing you guys should take from this video is, like I said, you know, if you're in a calorie deficit, you're gonna lose weight. That's a tried and true method. Like I said, you know. Can you get, like, what is it called, triple bypass surgery or some shit like that? You could get that done. You could get surgery. You could take pills. I mean, do you? Like I said, you know, but most of that shit, that doesn't help your mental psyche. You get what I'm saying? Like, the shit I'm telling y'all about, staying in the calorie deficit, not only is my body used to it, my mind is used to it. So now, guys, no bullshit. I was telling my gym bro this. They be cracking jokes all the time about when I'm about to go back to eating hot wings, guys. I'll tell you right now, if I see a plate of hot wings now, like, it doesn't have the same psychological effect on me as it did a couple years ago. Now, I already know why I'm doing what I'm doing. You get what I'm saying? Like, once you master that level of being locked in, like, yo, I know why I'm doing what I'm doing. Like, if I just result back to like even one day of like doing stupid shit, like, I'm breaking the chain of what I already been doing. You get what I'm saying, guys? I haven't ate hot wings since before last Thanksgiving. That had to been like October, probably November of 2025. So like, guys, I'm telling you, like, I mean, this shit is crazy, man. It kind of feels like, I feel like I'm the same person, but like once I start, you know, recollecting, man, and start thinking about like the shit I used to think about and things I used to say, like, I mean, like I said, guys, it's, you know, staying disciplined and staying locked down to a routine, tied to a certain goal, guys, like, you don't really lose. You know, the only way you lose is, like I said, if you don't give it enough time, or, you know, if I keep changing my shit up trying to compare it to someone else's goals that has, you know, that's in a different situation than me, you know, like, focus on what you can control, and like I said, those small steps, eventually they build up, and like I said, you know, you'll be all right, guys. But I got to get up out of here. So be on the lookout next week. There's going to be more videos. But I got to get to the supply house, guys. Keep rocking and rolling. I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.